I am Chinese.
I am Russian.
I am South African.
I'm Canadian.
I am Filipino.
I am Irish.
I am Bulgarian. Korean.
I am American. I am Brazilian.
Italian.
Mexican.
I'm British.
Swedish.
French.
I'm Israeli.
Japanese.
We are mankind.
Welcome and get ready for the sharing of ideas. We are about to start now. I'm just told to facilitate the process. The people who have the expertise are coming here, and of course, this is an information sharing session, and we just need to participate and collaborate with all these important people who are here, who have put out their time aside to do this. I can't continue to speak Xhosa. I'm a Xhosa speaking person, and I think if I continue doing that, very few people will hear what I say in the room. But the purpose of today will enlighten us in terms of why the indigenous languages are important and why this year was declared a year of indigenous languages. So we're free to speak our languages here and through one or two, because today we can speak anything as long as it's our languages and try to incorporate other people. Without wasting any of your time, we are about to start. We're gonna sing the two anthems because our choir is not here. We'll play an audio and we can sing along. You know what is good in Africa, everybody can sing. Whoever on the side of this continent, our people can sing many times. So we are going to start with the South African national anthem. So I will ask you to please stand. And immediately after that, we're going to sing the AU anthem, which will continue.
that Prof. Zide, is currently hosting the Council on Higher Education visit. We are being actually audited by the CHE, which also advises the Minister of Higher Education. So between yesterday and tomorrow, so they are here to look into the whether actually the university, is up to scratch as it were. But also I must say we feel quite privileged as the Vaal University of Technology for partnering with the National Department of Arts and Culture in hosting these important dialogues that are happening. They could have chosen any other institution, however, they felt that actually they will have this built up to the National Human Rights Day on the 21st of this month to happen here. But also I think the theme is quite important and relevant for us as a university, but also I think as a continent. Promote the promotion and preservation of indigenous languages as a human right. I'm saying it is important for us as a university and perhaps as a sector for a simple reason that once we do have all these languages, is that many of the indigenous languages, 25 years down the line, continue to be marginalized, not only in society, but also within our universities. And it's something that perhaps I know the esteemed panel will definitely, I think, shine some light in terms of why there is this, what I would call inertia towards treating all indigenous languages as equal languages, whether in commerce, in higher education, anywhere where we can actually recognize them, but also allow us to welcome, our distinguished guests to this afternoon who have actually graced this occasion. We are really looking forward actually to them enriching us as the university community. We have here Ms. Swana Nhlapo, who is the CEO of the Sharpeville Foundation. And I must say that I think we are working very closely with the foundation this year, but as a build-up to the 60th actually anniversary of the Sharpeville massacre in 2020. But I'm sure I'll leave the rest to her, I think, to share with us actually what those plans are. But also we do have from the National Heritage Council, Advocate Kagiso Mapale. Welcome to you, ma'am. We also have, a very important actually citizen of our local municipality, because what we do here, we are just welfare aid payers to the municipality. So this is not other than actually the executive mayor of the Mfuleni local municipality, Councillor Cliff Marana. We're so grateful to have your worship gracing us on this very important occasion. But also we do have the Brian Makeketa, who is from the CRL Commission. I'm not too sure how many of us actually are aware that there are many
I'm sorry. So, when I got this invitation, I had to bring it down for Shavin. Okay? And I'd like to quote Urumi when he says, silence is the language of the God. All else is just poor mistranslation. And so when we speak, we just translating, but when we are silent is when God is speaking. Okay? And I think it was Mandela who said, if you speak to a man in a language that he understands, you speak to his head, but if you speak to him in his mother tongue, you're speaking to his soul, to speaking to his soul. Okay? And they say when a language dies, a way of understanding the world dies with it. So they said I'm from Sharpeville, and that is the most prestigious badge I wear with pride. Forget mother, poet, no, I'm from Sharpeville. And I'm proud because this is the one township where 69 people plus died at one time so that you and I could be sitting here today. And it is the reason why on the 21st of March in the United Nations we'll be sitting and discussing racial tensions in the world. It is the reason why on the 21st of March you and I will be having a holiday that we call the Human Rights Day. And so everywhere I go, people are like, what should we say? No, just say I'm Twana from Sharpeville. I think that's enough. Being from Sharpeville, if you've been here long enough, you know Sesotho is the most spoken language here. And we exist, the Zulus, we're here too, okay? We're at the periphery, at the corner, at the very end of Sharpeville. This is where we are, and that section is called Madelele. This is the Basotho way of calling the Zulus or everybody else. They use this word during the Tifakani when the Zulus were running away from Ushaka. And they ran to Lesotho and they called them Madelele. Or Bumhlakwane. Bumhlakwane, are they here? It means Muhlakwane. Okay, so that's us. And growing up in Sharpeville, I had to learn Sesotho fluently. And I do, I mean, you just heard. And the reason why I had to is because there were no other schools in the township that offered any other language. And it's called Vukuzaki. Every Zulu person from Sharpeville studied from there, and then they went away. And I did not understand at the time because I wanted to go and study Boroma, Assamta in Sharpeville, because my friends were going there and I didn't want to go Vukuzaki. And my father was adamant, like, this is not going to happen, so I only went for preschool there and joined Vukuzaki later on and completed my high primary there. And the reason why that is so important is because language speaks what you really need to say. English floats on top of our head, okay? We just use it to get by, but if you really want to hear what the person is saying and understand them to their core, you need to know what their languages are. And we're so privileged to have 11 languages in this country, which some I still have to learn, because I also want to be in a room with the Mavenda people and the Tonga people and be able to understand exactly what is it that they're saying. So being here today means we have to, it's sort of reflected on me as well to say, what is it that I need to do at this ripe age of my youth to learn these languages, okay? And this is a challenge I put on myself to say before I reach 50, I must at least. The third one, Siyomlahla. And the fourth one, Siyomkhweza. Okay? And the reason why these things are different is because it applies to different people. And this was a way of us filtering the spirits that will go into the next life that we have to call upon. So if you're a good person and we need you to come back, so that you rise again. Okay? Does that make sense? And if you are a thug terrorizing the nation, so we don't ever get to see you again. And there are rituals that are aligned to that type of a process. if you were scum of the earth, siyakulahla. This is when I will put all sorts of stones and whatever, so that whatever you do not come back to this space like that. This is when we rise you up, you know, to where we want to find ourselves in the future. So whatever spirit that goes up there comes back to us, and we are able to correct whatever it is that we are suffering in this world. And I thought that was very profound, because then that will address the way that we bury our people. Okay? Because the things that we do at the graves that are very shady, yes? We do shady things. So if we knew those type of things, we'll be able to know even the times where we bury. So we find ourselves, there's a lot of confusion amongst us because as we don't follow things the way that we're supposed to follow them. Saying and adopting culture as we go along, and we worry and we wonder why all of these nasty things are happening, why all these children are killing each other, why all these gender-based violence are happening. Everything else is happening to us, and we have no way of articulating them. Now, if Saturday was the society, you will always be dealing with the symptoms and not fixing the actual problem. And like I said, I have no idea why I was on this panel, so I'm very close to my end. But I'll also let you know that I do translations for ESABC. And I think this is one of the problems that we're facing. So we translate from English to African languages for children. What happens is, firstly, the script is written in English. And so the thought behind it is in English, you know, the fairies and all of that stuff. Now we have to translate those things to our children. A problem one is that some of those things do not exist in our culture. We don't know them, okay? And we're feeding them to our children. Number two is that we do not have the wide enough vocabulary to advance our languages, you know? And new things are being born every day. The designers and inventors are inventing new things every day, and we're not putting names onto those things. And even when we do, which is a cell phone, we hardly ever use it. And so they say to me, no, Twana, don't write Makala, will not understand. Palamuti is cell phone. Yakala is cell phone, why Baba Usi. It's all good and well for the child to understand, but that also eats away of our languages. And so it's very necessary that we broaden and expand our languages. So the professors in the room who speak our languages, please broaden it up and be able to do these things. And so when I was looking at this vocabulary, but this thing is very easy, you know, to expand the vocabulary, especially in Zulu. Well, I'm biased, I am Zulu. Here are the examples. Masiti here, ula. Sleep, la. Sleep here, la. Sleep there, la. Listen, la. Listen here, la. Sleep over there, la. Listen here, sleep over there, la. So we can do anything with our languages. And so I will close with a poem that's called Ngivumele Ngiqashe. And this was inspired about our states as Black people, particularly because of what's happened in Sharpeville. Esikamuntu isibeletho saqaleliswa yini. Inzalo iphelela phansi okwamanzi esihlabathini. Okuyiyona nkululeko ebinjongwa noxhaka. Sihudulana sodwa sibanga ize. Silahla amasiko siwaxosha futhi ngokuthanda. Sihlekane sodwa simjabulise umbelingwane. Maye uyasinda yini nomthwalo. Okungenani ngivumele ngiqashe. Ngithi kwemuka nje kwesikhashana. Abedlula abaphambili balifela lelizwe. Bephonsa ngamanje bebika inhlamvu. Abadala bebuka intsha ebubulala. Besilungisela thina kusasa lezwe sijike sibakhohlwa kamazolo. Ngisize Nkosi. Nakho sengiyabenza esizibeni sabahloni. ngivumele ngiqashe. Ngendithi kwemuka nje kwesikhashana. Iyothi nxa seyishinqile lithi enhlakanipho, ngindize ngisabaleze izimpaphe njengokhozo lwamaphiko nxa sengintante emoyeni, ngikhohlwe lo mhlaba ohlabayo, ngiphambane nemvula ngangane nesibhakabhaka, ngimbone yena ongadekwa ngamehlo. Ngincinde, ngiqhathe, ngelasho kakhetho okuthandayo, zithi mazehle basisweni, nami ngehle emafini ngogamele uThixo lenkosazana, esandleni liphethe icheba lamandla mnyama amandla wenselele.
I've got friends and colleagues and comrades here in this room who are struggling to identify me from today because they know me as Reverend Moeran, and I'll remain Reverend Moeran. Being the mayor does not replace my colleague. I was ordained as a reverend, and I was inducted to be a mayor. So that one can come and go, but the spiritual one remains. So today, I'm standing here as one of the residents from Shaula. So, yes, we can do 1447 Olive Avenue. And some started to cry, not knowing why they're crying. Is the manner in which the message was conveyed to us. A very important person was killed today. So language is very important, especially when it's used to carry out a particular message. Through language, you can influence people to do wrong things. Through language, you can transform things. Through language, you can settle a score. Through language, you can uplift a person. So then let me start by greetings. I recognize here Professor Zide, who is not here now, Dr. Abraham Sirote, our Madam, Miss Twanan Kapo. I happen to know the mother. I didn't know that she is such a beautiful girl. The mother was an activist working for Sakar, a trade unionist. So I know the mother from the 80s. And Professor Kaskiso Mopale, Miss Sophie Brain, one of our stalwarts who's not here today, Professor Somado Depekeni, and also the audience in this room. Let me start from the beginning. It was in 1980 in Texas when we assembled there under the emblem of the World Council of Churches. And one of the issues raised in that discussion of the religious leaders was culture. We focused on the creative power of culture and language as the world church to understand how culture can subjugate people to turn against their own language, like is happening in this country. Very few of you in this room can express yourself in your own mother languages or Ramene. And that has serious repercussion in terms of your identity as a person. I'm sure you wanna. Am I correct, Professor? Yes, from Sharpeville also. Which was Tina Camilore. Sharpeville now also funny sections, Milore, Umulo, all those places. So when you
Sharpeville on its own. It is a community, but a community that developed its own kind of identity through language. Because I grew up in Mayerton, firstly. We could not cross certain streets to get to other places because there would be a barrier in terms of, in that street, the people around that street would be known to be maybe the Zulu people. Therefore, there will be an attempt to stop you to cross that street. So, language can become a problem if people use it for negative things. Through that language, when the mother was making you to be what you are, she taught you the words, the power of words. You were able to express yourself. So in these few words, I deviated from the speech, because I always tell the office, before I became a mayor, I'm a preacher, So, because the lady fascinated me to deviate from the prepared speech, just to touch on cultural element that forms a person to be a human being. We are different from animals. We got language, we got identity. So I wish you well in your deliberation. I wish I could stay for some time with you, but I've got a meeting with Treasury in Joburg to resolve some of the administrative issues facing the municipality. Thank you very much.
Such two highly spirited presentations, I'm feeling a little bit deflated at the moment. I'm not so sure if I will live up to the two previous performances you have just seen, but all the same, colleagues, distinguished panel, staff, students, and friends of the Vaal University of Technology, good day. Mine is a very simple task. I'm not going to take too long because I'm not a panelist. Mine is just to explain the purpose why we're here and to give a context to this conversation we're having today. One of our forebears, many years ago, when they waged those wars of resistance, those wars were about, essentially, those struggles were human rights struggles. Okay. They were about what kind of society they think South Africa should be, post-colonial and post-apartheid. When the liberation movement, in its broader sense, came into being, at the very heart of that struggle was the struggle for human rights, including language rights. Okay. And the question that they were seized with at the time in the liberation movement, in its broadest term, was what kind of society South Africa should be post-colonialism and post-apartheid. And so, the struggles of Sharpeville, we know about them, the struggles of Soweto students in June 16 and many other students across the country who wage similar struggles. The struggles were essentially struggles for human rights. But then it will not end there. That it will assist us in terms of rethinking our medium-term strategic framework and our broad framework in terms of our program on social cohesion and nation building, and that some of the strategic interventions we should be thinking about from 2019 forward, some of those strategic interventions will come from this discussion that we'll have here today. So thank you very much, and wishing you everything of the best.
Aye.
Martina Baule wa Pano.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panel. Thank you so much for the invitation to come and speak to you today about a theme that has shaped and impacted on my career in massive ways. Human rights and indigenous languages. You know, it's not every day that a young woman is given the opportunity to come and speak to people about how indigenous languages and culture have created a unique research career for her. This theme has shaped and impacted on my career in massive ways, and it continues to do so even today. As the youngest and only black female South African customary law expert in the country, please trust me when I say that I know firsthand the importance of indigenous languages. I specialize in this field specifically because I could not see myself represented and the languages of South African people represented in legal research. I'll give context to why I'm saying this by using two examples. My first exposure to the theme of human rights and indigenous languages it took place in my undergrad LLB year, final year actually, when we were tasked with attending concessions to get a practical sense of law in practice. I attended one of these concessions and the interpreter would translate what the judge would say in English into Chivenda. The matter was postponed for the prosecution to gather more evidence. And this interpreter, in his attempt to relate this issue to the complainant, he said, "Your way, and that is in no way what the judge said. But sitting in the gallery, I understood that the interpreter used this exaggerated exclamation and said things that the judge did not say, because it had a lot to do with a lack of proper translation of English legal terminology into Chivenda. And in all the concessions that I attended, the looks of confusion on the people, whether they were the complainant or the defendant, and including the people who were in the gallery. They could have been friends or family members of the people who had court cases in session on all those particular days. It made me realize even more that legal rights, which form part of human rights, are not going to become a reality until they are explained in the languages that people know and understand. Now, when I began my research career, and I did both my master's and PhD, I was now on the other side of the interpreter, because I was tasked with researching complex topics in rural communities where the intellectual concept of human rights is not only misunderstood, but it's only related to in the abstract. Now, the same laws that I'm talking about, the Constitution and every other piece of legislation that emanates from human rights, they were put in place to protect the rights of people in rural communities. Now, here's the problem. It is those very same people that these laws are supposed to protect who don't understand what these laws say or their importance in their lives, to the conversations that you and I are having in such platforms.
Time allocation, you also included salutations. Because at times it might take a bit. I'm not a fast-speaking person. The DG of the Department of Arts and Culture, Kawaza. The VC of the Vaal University of Technology, Undlov. The General Manager who advocate, as she has already spoken, the CEO of the Sharpeville Foundation, and the representative of that entity, which is very important, Chapter 9 institution, except that its acronym is very long. CRF. The distinguished audience, Molweni, Tumela, Dimasiya, Abshe, Sanbonani, Locha. Such a pleasure and an honor to be invited to speak on this subject. And as a political scientist and a policy person, I'll just highlight a few things. Of course, a heritage person, because I'm told where she is. That's why I started in 2004 when we started the National Heritage Council as the COO and the head of heritage. I just want to start by saying what distinguishes us as human beings from the rest of our cousin animals is the level we have advanced the use of language. And in any situation of group dynamics or individual interaction, where we talk development, where we talk wars, peace, love, human advancement, we do that through one medium called language. So it is the alpha and omega of anything that we do. Whether you are engaged in politics, whether you are engaged in business, commerce, or you are engaged in everyday life, it has to be through language and manner of communication. That's how fundamental language is and how they understand themselves. And one of the things you do, you suppress their language. You give them new names. A beautiful name, you said he comes, you say, no, you have to be Trifina. Even up to this day, when people go to work in some firms, you find people saying, I'm patience, I'm prudence, and so forth. When you ask them, is this really your name? They say, no, when I was getting this job, we were given names to choose from. That's when you begin to understand a country that in 1994 what we got was a political freedom. But we still struggling to make sense of social and economic freedom. And that's where power is. No wonder then today, the numeric majority is a cultural minority. We are a majority. But if you look around as to what we are wearing, the majority is Western. If you look around, as the DG was saying, we're speaking in English with each other. If you look around, our mannerism, our food taste, even memory of the past, Mausiti Kauslande, some of the people say, just give me a moment, I'm going to Google it. Because they did not go past the grandmother to know where they come from. And yet, if you ask about Justin Bieber, if you ask about the soapies, you find people with tears in their eyes. Just because one person in a soapie had a bad day. And when their grandmother dies, their eyes are dry because they can't relate. That's how alienated they are from themselves. It's what Muki then says. It's when your essence is alienated from you and you become a stranger to yourself. I was going to use the Mandela quote. Since you've already taken it, I'll pass. Because in his very simple way, he was trying to tell something about the language. The fact that this year the United Nations has declared it as the year of indigenous language or mother tongue language is quite significant, because across the world, languages are dying. There's one Khoisan language or San language where only one person today is remaining who can still speak that language. And when you want to understand the death of a language, the problem with us, we think language is that thing for conversation. Where is a shop? Where is food? How are you? That's just the beginning of a language. A language is that reservoir of collective experiences, of memories, of idioms, of proverbs, of spirituality, of interpretation of the world, which has evolved over centuries. When you lose it, you have lost your worldview. It is not just a matter of losing it because you have an English alternative. But what has happened now, an irony of ironies, when we got our freedom in 1994, we were also culturally disarmed. Instead of recovering our cultures, which we had used during the struggle, every other parent thought that it was cute to send their kids to English-speaking schools. They pay a lot of money. And when their kids come back, they need cultural interpreters just to fit into their own homes and communities. Their music is Ethiopian. You get into their hotels, it's Ethiopian. The sound, the smell, there's everything. Come to South Africa, which is so deeply entrenched in colonialism. Where can I get African food? You'll have to travel to the township here in town. It is simply telling that we're still exiles in our own land culturally. Ngugi wa Thiong'o says, until we decolonize our mind, we must forget about any freedom that we can think of. Social cohesion, peace, unity, and prosperity, which is articulated in our preamble of the Constitution, can only be realized, unity in diversity, when we affirm those heritage aspects which were marginalized to have a meaningful coexistence with English, with Africans. But sometimes the lack of political will. There's one school in Pretoria, as the last example, which used to be African speaking, but today it's 99% African. But Africans is still compulsory. Instead of doing a survey, so we approach the school, why don't you do a survey to find out what's the majority language, which they did. They said it was Sepedi. Then introduce Sepedi instead of Afrikaans, because it has outlived its usefulness. Does that mean Afrikaans is being hated? No. Where Afrikaans still has a significant constituency, it should be preserved, it should be protected. But there's no use. When I grew up in my village, the two stations that used to be dominant in a radio station, whilst others were struggling, was English and Afrikaans. No one in my village ever spoke Afrikaans, but the station had the strongest signal in that area. Now, our SABC, people have moved around from Venda to stay in Gauteng, from the Eastern Cape to be here, from KZN. You still find that the signal of our broadcast is still the one that was bequeathed by apartheid. You go to Northwest, all of a sudden, Setswana appears, can no longer hear Xhosa. You go to KZN, isiZulu appears, you can no longer hear Sepedi, without recognizing that there has been some movement, and besides, people have taken interest in these languages. Again, thank you very much, Program Director, and I hope I lived up to your promise.
For us, an analogy we use to describe these rights or to explain the different languages that we have in the country is an analogy of a diamond. A diamond is one piece of stone, but if you look at it closely, you'll notice it has got different faces. It has got different shapes, but still, it doesn't lose its value of being a diamond. And for me personally, I think that is the thinking or that inspired the drafters of our constitutions to declare 11 languages as official languages of the country. Section 3 is very clear, and it tells us all the languages that are official. But at the same time, there's an issue about what we refer to as the Commission as community languages. Community languages refer to those languages that are spoken in different communities. Advocate Kilobeng is one of them, which although they have not been declared official, but those are the languages that communities still use in the country. If you come from the Eastern Cape, you know about isiBhaka, isiKlubi, languages that communities still use. So the question is, how much development has been done? DG, your NTT pencil, which is supposed to develop languages, how much development are they doing? The same applies to the Khoi and the San languages. How much development has been done? You see, our argument is to say, we are not talking, when we talk about development of languages, replacing this language with that language, no. We are saying, as the Constitution says, Section 3 of the Constitution, that these are the official languages of South Africa. Yes, others are more developed than the others. Let's keep the stamp of those that are developed, and those that are lagging behind, let's bring them up to the same level. That's our view as the Commission. Section 31, subsection 1 of the Constitution re-emphasized the point. Everyone has a right to practice his culture or her culture, to practice his or her religion, and to practice his or her language. Not English, but his or her language. Your mother tongue, as the feminists would say, why not the father tongue, your father tongue? The idea behind the constitutional provisions relating to language was to bring this element of equal rights. All languages should be treated and approached as equal. The second point was to bring or highlight the point of national unity. That just like we were proud when we started the session by singing the national anthem in 4 languages, why can't we bring to the same standard and same level all our languages? And thirdly, the whole idea behind language rights is also to foster this spirit of reconciliation. Yes, the Prof and the other speakers before me spoke of colonialism, they spoke of whatever things that happened in the past. But now, in the New South Africa, I'm still new, or I'm still old now. In the New South Africa, we preach the spirit of reconciliation. Why don't we use language or languages as another sign of showing that indeed we are happy? There was an advert that was making rounds about water, or we take a shortcut. But the key question is, who will do the amalgamations? Who will do the standardizations of these languages into these new languages? In concluding, I just wanted to put to you as students and the staff of this institution, I guess even Professor Somadoda is from UNISA, also to his university. This is my first challenge to you. How are the language rights of communities of your institution protected and promoted? I'm not talking about English, I'm talking about all the other languages. 2, how constitutional is your university language policy, if you have it? 3, does your university community practice its language rights? Thank you.
However, I haven't seen a program that teaches African languages like Swahili, for instance.
Thank you. I represent the National Association of School Governing Bodies. Mine is just to possibly directed to DAC. I've heard the speakers here speaking about the need for us to develop, preserve our languages, especially African languages. But there's one aspect that maybe we need parents to pose to the DAC, as it relates to the publishers. If you go around the country, the literature, the power, the books that are written in our own languages are diminishing. You'll hardly find them on the bookshelf. What is it that the department is doing to make sure that it brings to the front the writers and the publishers, especially of not the dominant one? Because if you look, that's one aspect that we need to do. Because currently, if you can go through around the country and find that there's a huge monopoly in terms of publishers. It's only few publishers that are still there. The whole notion, the whole challenge of the transformation, our languages are commercialized. That space is still squeezed. There's only the two dominant. You'll find that is the English and the Africans. What is the department doing?
There's a speaker who said English is not the measurement of intelligence. So that's why I didn't bring my Woolworth water. So allow me to speak the way I speak my English. If I can remember very well, there's a book that I once read. It was about Kwame Nkrumah, the president of Ghana. In 8 years, 1963, Alibaba. He spoke of one United States of Africa, one army, one currency, one state bank, and one medium of instruction, of which the most common language, which they kind of elected, it was Swahili. So we have a VC here, which is an academic elite, and we have a DG from Art and Culture. So my question is it impossible for you, maybe you'll even create employment by this, for you guys, not for you guys, for you distinguished guests, to come up with a framework. I think in English it says you cannot treat an old dog, you cannot teach an old dog with new tricks. So, is it impossible for the academic elites, our professors and government, to work in collaboration to come up with a framework that will teach students from grade 1, if not grade 0, you teach them, what do you call it? They call it African solutions to African problems using African languages. Is it possible to come up with a framework that will come up with a strategy? Unlike the one that we used to draw.
Okay, thank you. Just one question. Thank you.
Which Department of African Languages seeks to promote African languages in the true African context? That is one. But the second issue that you have raised, whether it is possible or not possible to introduce at a very early age African languages, that is not impossible. It is something that can be done, and the universities working in collaboration with Basic School, the Department of Basic School Education, I think that is very critical. That can happen. But over and above that, remember we have grade RR and grade R. Sometimes we are enemies of our own, where I think it was Prof. Somadoda who mentioned that you go to any house of an intellectual, in inverted commas, you find the children expressing themselves in fluent English, and you say, wow, this is great, and forgetting that this child is actually an African. An African means that you should be proud of who you are and be proud of your roots. So that is not impossible, it can be done, and I believe that at the VUT we're on the right track. Thank you.
Indeed, we should. I did see the audience applauding VC that we are indeed in the process of developing these African languages. I'm Jacob Tamara. I'm from Africa. Thank you. My name is Jacob Tamara. I'm representing African Languages Development Unit here in VUT. I just came. Thank you. Yes, I just came here in VUT because VUT now is currently developing the African languages. We are doing rendering the following services. We are ensuring that VUT language policy is well implemented. As you asked, if is there any language policy? Yes, it's here, and we're working very hard so that we comply to the language policy. We promote and develop African languages in VUT. From now on, I don't know when we're going to start, but before end of this semester, maybe translation of VC speeches and memos to the university community. Please applaud for this. We are in the process, we are going to translate learning and teaching materials. We are talking about guides, lectures.
To each one of us. We have allowed that space for too long. We are the leaders we've been waiting for, and we're our own liberators. Thank you.
And I can say to you now that unfortunately there is no tolerance in different tribes, in institutions of harmony. And I think that is also a part that you need to look at. VUT is predominantly Tsonga and Venas. And they feel a need now that it's our time. It's been Zulus and Xhosas and Sutus who have been in charge, and they never treated us well. They were calling us Shangans in any space, anytime that they could get. So they feel a need that it's best that they retaliate, of which I would not support in any space, and of which I think it's a lesson that we should learn, all of us, that we need to instill tolerance. The same way as we say a member of PUA must be able to tolerate a member of the EFF or a member of PASMA. It's the same way we should have programs whereby we're going to say that don't cause what talks about the Luguas of Tetan and Zonga. Now, when Changana Scott of Laula and then the got of common, I am actually one of two sisters who are one. So that's all I wanted to suggest to the Office of African Unity. Thank you.
I will be undermined because I'm speaking strong. Because you can't speak strong. And at the same time I can hear you. Why can't you try to learn my language? Because I can hear your language. What is the cause of tribalism? The same language that I speak, it's a way that we can't promote our African language. Because when I speak strong, I didn't just speak because I can hear it means I'm ready to learn, I'm ready to learn. You are not ready to compromise, you are not ready to compromise in your African brother, mother language or home language. Thank you.
I wrote sometime a few weeks ago to say the legitimacy of our constitution could easily be undermined if those who continue to use it happen to be the privileged people, and their emphasis is often on preserving the privileges, protection of property rights, this and that. And remember, AfriForum has been a lot more effective in using the Constitution than an average person elsewhere. Because our justice system, advocate, is very expensive. I did a workshop for the judge presidents at the invitation of the Chief Justice, and one of the problems was one of the access to justice. If you steal baby milk powder, you are likely to end up in prison, the case being postponed for a year. If you steal billions like Steinhoff, you'll be playing cricket in Bahamas whilst your lawyers are looking at the matter. So that is the challenge. So if we love our constitution, we should act very fast on the material issues. And the last point that I wanted to highlight is the one of saying nothing takes away for the conscientization of the society, the mindset change, the self-love. We cannot heal from the pain we have until we understand who we are and we are proud of that. But for now, the alienation of us is such that even crass materialism that we see, it's when the oppressed people experience a sense of inner hollowness, they may even compensate.
A new term of non-racialism, moving away from multiracialism. And at the time, he said that there is so much of racism in South Africa that it cannot be multiplied to make it multi. So even the English speakers at the time, they did not want to listen to him when he spoke about non-racialism. But further down the line, they actually accepted the idea of non-racialism. I think in essence, this is where we are as South Africans. For as long as we continue looking down upon one another, that self-inflicted pain, it's not going to take us anywhere. During our days as SASO members, we were singing a revolutionary song, Mxhosa, Zulu, Msuthu, Hlanganani. What has happened to that? One of the colleagues here mentioned that if you express yourself in Tonga or Venda, some people look down upon you instead of being proud of who you are as an African. I was quite privileged last year when I was invited by Kigali in Rwanda to talk to African students about the importance of Pan-Africanism. I was very humbled. What was at the core of my message was that, colleagues, be proud of who you are as an African. And remember, Africa was balkanized by the 5 imperialist quintuples And what are these? Britain, France, Germany, Portugal, and Spain. And we continue, even in the present day political dispensation, we continue promoting the ideology of those principles. And it cannot be right. Because one of the things that pulls down us as Africans, Somalia is right. You drive, in fact, I was quite happy in Parliament when they said that, no, the expensive cars are going to be something of the past now, the S500, etc. Then they are going to decide what is reasonable for ministers. I think that is a great move. But most importantly, colleagues, it is frustrating that at this present day, and Mr. Kize was right, that we are still talking about decolonization, when in fact we should now be saying we have moved away from colonization. But the mere fact that we're still talking decolonization, it just shows that there is something grossly wrong with us as Africans. We are not proud of who we are. And
I chose to go and do my LLB at the University of Vaal because I wanted to be in an environment where the legal degree and career that I was going to have must be able to serve the majority of people in South Africa who are not white but black and are resident in rural communities. That was not a popular decision. And if you were all placed in a similar decision, I doubt that many of us in this room would make that decision. When I completed my LLB, I was recruited by Werksmans, Bowman Gilfillan, but I chose to go and work for a Chapter 9 institution because my heart was in the people in rural communities who did not have access to the skills and expertise that I had. Again, that was another unpopular decision, which many people thought was crazy because who chooses to go and work for a Chapter 9 institution when you have 3 of the top 5 law firms in South Africa asking to employ you? Who does that? Now, another decision that I made, which was unpopular, I specialized in African customary law at a time when everyone was saying we need to do away with it as a system of law in South Africa. And my question was, how do you do away with a system of law that governs the majority of people who live in South Africa, that governs their way of life, that informs their traditions and practices, their rituals from birth to death, the wedding ceremonies, everything that informs who you are as a person? How do you do away with that as a legal system? I went to UCT, and when I stood there and I was addressing you all, I said I'm the only and the first and the youngest black to have specialized in the field. I don't like saying those words because it is not supposed to be like that. There's supposed to be many more who are in the field, who are specializing in the field. Because if in South Africa there is a majority of people who are living in rural communities and there is one of me, how else are we supposed to transform our minds, our languages, our systems? But I'm saying I'm the only one because it is not a push, a research area. It involves going to sit in rural communities and interviewing people there. Going, we will toilet and not the flashing one where there's the hygiene air freshener. Forgive me, product director, I'm going to need to be a bit lengthy with this one because I need to address this as a matter of agility. To say that, in this career, there's a lot of sunburn involved. If you are going to want to effect change that is going to affect a lot of people, you're going to need to make a lot of unpopular decisions. Go in places where it's not going to be comfortable for you to go, so that you can effect the change. And unless you are willing to make those kinds of decisions, and you're going to ask DG and Kahiso and all the people who are distinguished as sitting here, what are the solutions? The solutions are within you, unless you make that determination. Now, there was a question about the booklet that you had in your hand and it being a European concept of human rights. And if you remember in my address, I said I chose to specialize in customary law because I could not see myself represented and the people that I know and live especially in Africa. They may not be documented and understood in the intellectual, conceptual ways in which are described in the Constitution or any other human rights discourse that we take part in. But human rights are there. Ubuntu, which informs the Constitution and many other constitutions around the world, is an African concept. If that on its own does not tell you that human rights have existed in Africa, then you need to start asking yourselves serious questions. Feminism has existed in Africa. Our grandmothers, the queens of Egypt, Khoshani Mujaji, those women were examples of the existence of feminism. But I'm going to leave you with this. If you do not control the narrative of the story, you have no impact on history. And you cannot control the narrative of the story unless you are the storyteller. So you need to go back in your individual spaces and think about the changes that you want to see happening in the communities in which you reside, more VUT, and any other space that you occupy, and start deciding within yourself that you are going to be the change that you want to see. So that next time you will be seated on these platforms and speaking to other people and inspiring them to make those similar changes. Thank you.
And I also like to comment what Kahlise said. She said a mouthful, and whatever she said, I'm saying too. But I would not be truthful to what I came here for if I don't mention that whatever it is that has made you to leave wherever you were to come here is because you are the kind of a person that swims against the tide. This is not a popular space. That's why there are so many vacant chairs in here. But it takes that kind of a people to change a lot. You don't need a whole village at the same time.
Is in your hands. If you mess it up, then everything is going to be messed up. But if you say to yourselves, I am an African and I'm proud to be an African, then this country is going to have a brighter future. Not only for you, but also for the generations and generations that come after you. So be proud of who you are and hoist the flag of the country very high, and you'll be proud.
So I think now we are dealing with this politics of language. How much will do we have to make sure that indigenous languages are exercised, developed, demystify the myth that they lack content, they lack scientific terminologies, and we begin to use them. Jogo Basila, professor and the professors from Madrid again and professors. Jogo Basila is school man listen this. As well as command. That is the politics of language that we must change and begin to deal with that aspect. But how do we achieve it? And that is what I leave to the experts. At Tina as a department, we will take what you say and be able to take it forward. Thank you very much, Madam Director.
Afternoon. Let me take this opportunity and thank IDEC, EDAC. Colleagues, the EDAC has traveled this road with us side by side. I want to declare up front that everything that you see here, it is pledged by EDAC. VUT is the host. Let's give a round of applause to EDAC. EDAC has adopted VUT as one of its secondary department in the Vaal. We have a memorandum of understanding on all National Days campaign. VUT has been given an opportunity to host all national campaigns that our national government is conducting. Give them a round of applause again. Colleagues, it will be a mistake if we are not acknowledging students. This event wouldn't have been or be accorded the status and the magnitude that it is today if it wasn't about students. I'm taking this time again to congratulate you and encourage you that you must participate. And this hall must be full to capacity when we are going to do another program around May Africa Day. But I'm giving you a chance to applaud yourself for being a beautiful audience. This prestigious and momentous occasion wouldn't have been if it wasn't about the great panelists that are before us today. I want to take, maybe via you, Vice Chancellor and Principal, a pleasure and a privilege for you as a token of gratitude and appreciation to thank the panelists for having graced this occasion. I'm saying again, we wouldn't have thrived today if it was not about your participation. You could have chosen any other institution, but you chose VUT to participate, and you have been very good in your endeavor. Give them a round of applause. Okay, if you will allow me.